sometimes we could be blindsided in love, and we overlook things. We can overlook things when we're in love with people, and it doesn't always serve us well. In my experience, I was with my children's dad for 10 years, and in the beginning everything was fine, everything was cool. We had a good relationship, good communication. We used to go out together and things like that. We'd always all meet up with our friends and go out and things like that. But about a year into the relationship, stuff started to change. He didn't want me going out with his friends anymore. Not that I'd do it separately, but we'd all be together, but he'd stop that. I wasn't allowed to really go out much. He'd comment on what I was wearing and things like that. It was really subtle at first. It wasn't ever, don't wear that or whatever. But, what are you wearing that for? Wear this instead. It was very subtle, to the point where you felt like they really care. I felt like he really, really cared about me. So much so I gave him 2 children. I just feel like sometimes when we're in situations that are not normal to us, because of how we feel, because of how I felt about him at the time, I really tried to normalize the behavior, and I didn't tell anyone. I kept it to myself. A lot of the time I was suffering in silence. Nobody really knew, no one saw me. I was just always at home. It was very different. I've always been a really bubbly person, very outgoing, and I started to notice that I didn't have that zest for life anymore. And it wasn't until an incident happened and my son went to the school and told his teacher that something happened to mummy at home, that it kind of hit me that, hang on, this isn't normal. No, this isn't love. I do need help. A lot of me not getting help was because I was scared. I was scared because I'm black, and I was like, well, I grew up thinking that as a black woman, we don't contact the police for our black men, protect the black man, keep him out of jail and things like that. But when the black man's hurting you, it just becomes different, doesn't it? And for a long time, I protected him from my family, from the police. I would always try to withdraw my statement, things like that. And then the law changed, and then it became a thing of women didn't need, the police didn't need a woman to prosecute. They could do it without the woman. Once the police had been called, they could press charges without you. If you'd been assaulted, they didn't need you anymore. I'd been to court previously before. That was a really stressful time. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. Again, I was just worried about how he would see me, and how he would view me as a woman, a black woman who called the police on him. But ultimately it didn't stop the abuse. So I felt like I was in a bit of a catch-22 in that sense, and obviously I wanted my children to have their dad around and stuff like that. So a lot of the time I kept stuff to myself, which isn't good. So as I was saying, it wasn't until I went to, my son reported the incident, that social services got involved, and I was sent to a workshop for women experiencing domestic violence. And initially I was really in denial. That's not me, no, and then we were told to do a questionnaire, which I've brought it with me. Can I show you guys?
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna say it changed my life, but it opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I was oblivious to or just was ignoring. It's called Arise. The workbook is called Awareness, Resilience, Independence, Support and Empowerment. And a quote from it says, "I am no bird, and no net ensnares me. I am free. I'm a human being with an independent will." So, that quote alone, it resonated with me when I first went to the group. As I said, I didn't really want to identify with anybody in the group or whatever, but I thought, this is not me. I'm just here for the social services. I don't want to take my kids away and things like that. So I complied. I done the thing. And there's a questionnaire in here. It was just basically, does the person do this? Does the person do that? And it wasn't until I saw the amount of yeses that I had that I realized, and I was like, hang on a minute, I'm in an abusive relationship. And it wasn't that it wasn't abusive before. It was just that I was like, oh no, he loves me. Maybe this is what it's I don't know, maybe this is what it is, like this is just his way, sort of thing. But I must say that one thing that as a parent and as parents we have got to start doing is we've got to start removing our children from the trauma and start involving our children in that trauma, because all it does is it makes it carry on. Like my children's dad, he had his issues. His dad was abusive towards his mum, and when he told me that, I just thought, that means he'll be all right. You know, he's not going to do the same thing. Who would? You know, it's going to be different. But no, he was exactly the same, and it's a thing of the behaviour. It's almost innate. It's within them, and you know. With my son now, I really encourage him to talk about his feelings. I encourage him to write stuff down. I bought them journals. So at the end of the day, we write in our journal what are you grateful for, what are you happy about today, and things like that. But in doing that, it's helped my children to just be able to express themselves. They're very free with their expression, and I feel like if you can allow your children that expression and show them all avenues of communication, then when they do get upset and things like that, they're not going to turn around and abuse someone, because they know how to deal with it. So, you know, at the time I didn't really, I was upset, you know, very confused, didn't know what to do. But my main thing was to create a plan of how I was going to get out of this. It's been like 8 years in it, and you know, things weren't getting any better. So when I went on this course, I knew that I had to take action. Like this was it now. This was, you know, I've been exposed, but to some extent, there's been exposure. People know now, and it's the school. You know, I'd have the teachers calling me up. They gave me a, what are they called? It's not a social worker, it's early help practitioner. An early help practitioner. They gave me one of those. And she was really, really nice, you know, really helpful, and she's very supportive. But again, the sort of person who I was with, his thing was about controlling my communication, controlling so many aspects of my life. But because I was so depressed and I felt low about my situation, I never, I wasn't honest with myself in that sense. And I'm doing this video because I want women who have experienced that or can see signs of it. I want to be able to encourage them to walk away, or to make a plan so that you can get away from that person, but also just to be strong, stay brave, and believe that you're never alone. There are so much services and stuff available to women, and they can help women. You can even go to not that I'm saying do it, but I'm saying you can go to different boroughs. If you're experiencing domestic violence, you are eligible to go to a different borough and approach them and say, this is what's happening, and they have the duty to house you and your children. They can't just leave you on the streets. So, you know, for people who feel like there's no way out, there's a way out. Yeah, it's different. I live somewhere different now. My children have changed schools about 5 times. But at the moment, we're happy. We're safe. I'm not getting beaten up every other day, or the arguments, or walking on eggshells when someone comes in the house, all those sort of things. So yeah, I just want to say, if you are experiencing anything like that, get out, leave, make a plan, and get help. Ask for help, because it is out there.
How do you deal with the judgment? So what do you advise people to think about when they're judging other women? Because I find that a lot of women judge other women.
Yeah,
she's moving funny, or why don't she just get out? And it's not as easy as that.
When I was in that situation, I used to get a lot of stick from my family. I come from a very strong lineage of strong women. You know, we don't mind doing it on our own, and we've just been strong. Like my grandma, amazing, so strong. My mum, amazing, so strong on both sides. So for me to be going through that, it was like, what the fuck's wrong with this girl? To the point where they stopped talking to me, they stopped coming around my house, they wouldn't look after my kids. So it would be a thing of, I didn't have no babysitters, didn't have no visitors. It was just me and the children, and that was it.
Which is more dangerous for you,
Which is more dangerous for me, because I've got no one. And I'll share something with you guys. So something had happened one day, and he had assaulted me, and that weekend we were supposed to go to like my little cousin's birthday party, and I was like, shit man, I can't go because everyone's going to know my business, everyone's going to see my face, and you know, I was really worried and stuff. And I asked my friend to take my kids to the party, and my mum was there, my sisters were there, and whilst they was at the party, my daughter and said, oh Nanny, can I just say something to you? Mummy's at home because Daddy beat her up. And obviously my mum in that moment was absolutely livid, because she didn't know, you know, and I asked my friend not to say anything. So my mum and my sisters were really upset with her, but I just tried to explain, like, at the end of the day, when you've got so many people pointing fingers at you, but no one's offering you help. Yeah. So I would say, if you do know someone who's in that situation, offer them help. Don't judge them and be like, oh, what you still doing there, and you know, try to get them to explain themselves. Offer them help, give them a way out, because when you're in that, you don't know what to do. You don't know how that person's going to react when they get home. You don't know. So yeah, I'd just say be supportive. And for me in that moment, my friend was being supportive, but obviously my mum didn't see it like that. And
there's another bit to it, because he's the father of your kids, right?
As well.
What do you say to your kids now? How do you
this
explain
is well, when I was going through a lot of that stuff, my children were a bit younger, so although I'm not going to say they didn't understand, they understood,
they fully understood,
but they didn't understand, sort of thing. So now we have more conversations, whereas before I'd just say, oh, watch TV, and I'd go and nurse my wounds in the other room or smoke a zoo or whatever. So now we talk, and since leaving their dad, the hardest part of it's not been that he doesn't help me financially or anything like that. It's been having to deal with the children and dealing with their trauma, because like for me, like I've had to make peace with the fact that I might not get an answer for why he did what he did the last time or this time or that time, but I've made peace with that. But how do you tell a 10-year-old girl that, sorry, no, you can't see your dad until blah blah blah, that's the court date, that's the date when our order ends or whatever? It's not nice. So for the kids, it's been really upsetting. Moving schools and stuff has been really upsetting for them. But yeah, I've just tried to keep everything positive and to keep their vibrations high. You know, I play a lot of music. I do a lot of dancing with my children as well. As I said, I do the journaling as well because I find it helps. And my daughter has developed her art skills like so much. Like she's actually done art therapy at school, and she's got like a whole collection of prints that she's done that she's found helpful to express herself in dealing with the emotions that she can't necessarily talk to anyone about. So it's been good in that sense because she's found a new talent. But it's challenging. I'm not going to say it's hard because there's worse things going on in the world, but it's very challenging trying to do a two-person job as one person. Yeah, I'd say that.
And do you think for you this will impact your relationships going forward?
Oh hell yeah, I'm a bitch. Like I'm a proper bitch now, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm enjoying being.
You think it's necessary?
Yeah, because I feel like for me, like if you know me, I'm a very genuine person, and I've always worn my heart on my sleeve, and I feel like my baby father, he just totally violated that. Like he knew what sort of woman I am, and the fact that he chooses not to help me shows that he knows the sort of woman that I am, the woman that will make sure that their kids have, like I provide for my kids, it's my job, do you know what I'm trying to say? And I never once expected him to go on like this, but it's not the end of the world. And it's, you know, even though, as I said, it's challenging doing the job of two people, but it's all worth it. I mean, my kids are happy, I'm safe, they're safe. I don't have to worry about, oh, is he going to come home and be in a bad mood, or what's it going to be tonight, or, you know what I mean? Like, and even things like, it got to a point, obviously children talk, innit? And I remember once, like my son said, oh yeah, we saw so-and-so in the park today, Daddy. And he was like, who did you see? What, Mandem, yeah? And I was like, oh God. And that was something. You know, he assaulted me that morning in front of the children. The kids were there. You know, there was no filter at some points, and I was scared, you know, I was really, really scared. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't feel like I had my family's support. Although they were there, I didn't feel like I had their support, because they were all just saying like, leave, 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 but okay, I leave and then what? You know, that was always the thing, leave and then what, you know? So when I did leave, when I did finally leave, it was just different. That's all I can say. It was a different life. It was just different. And I left everything. I left all my stuff. I left my car. I left everything. And all I had was like the black bags of clothes. You know, I even had to leave my cat. You know, that's how bad it was. I just had to go. But I feel like everything happens for a reason, and God knows why that situation happened on that day, or the way it was all revealed to me. I even went to church. I'm not a religious person, but I went to church on that Sunday, and that was the same Sunday that everything was revealed to me, and then on the Monday I left. So it was like, I always give thanks for that, always, because I'm like, at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. And I don't ever question it. I just know that this is where I am, this is my path that God's put me on, and I just have to keep going. Like, I've got these 2 kids, one in each hand, and we're good. I'll keep rolling. Do you know what I mean? I don't need no more kids, that's fine. I'm done.
Right, this day and age anyway.
Yeah, oh fuck it, man, it's too expensive as well. But yeah, I just want to let people know that, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you don't have to stay in those situations. And yeah, it can be difficult having to do everything for your kids and stuff, but there's so many women who have achieved great things being single parents. I'm not that I'm an advocate for single parenthood. I don't agree with it. I think it's shit in another sense, because children need to see both parents. Children need to have that time with their dad. I have a son. Like, my son's learnt his football skills from me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because his dad doesn't do that, or never did do that. You know, my son's now a really good footballer. He's at 2 or 3 pre-academies, and he's doing well. But you know, if I didn't push him and encourage him, and you know, try to bring out that boy bit in him, then what are we waiting for? Because the dad wasn't doing it. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like, as a woman, we shouldn't, and we must try not to dwell on the negative things, because there will always be something negative going on. It depends how you choose to view life, but I just feel like, as long as you're safe and you know, you don't have anybody threatening you or anything like that, then don't worry about nothing else, because it will all fall into place. And that's just how I've been. I don't worry anymore. I'm like, God's got me. God's got me. I might not even have no petrol, but I'm getting to my destination because God's got me. Do you understand? Like, that's how strong, I don't want to say my faith, because I'm not religious, but I just have a relationship. Yeah, the energy, perfect word. The energy with the Creator that I have, I just feel like, I just feel protected. I just feel safe. So yeah, I feel like get in tune with God, get in tune with yourself, and just do what's right, really. Get the fuck out of there.
What's interesting is, because you spoke about, which kind of shot out to me, in terms of like, you left everything, your car, everything. Most people hate their car as well, but
no, I left everything.
And essentially, it goes back to you, because this was basically your work on you. When
someone is abusing you or using an extreme level of force to hurt you, it's not that you're allowing it, but you're getting fucked up, bruv. Like, it's not an allowing thing. You're beating me up. I'm weak in that sense. Yeah. So it's not that I allowed it. I was beaten. I was belittled. I was, you know, my hair was pulled. Like, all different sorts of things was going on. And I just feel blessed and grateful to have the strength and courage to sit here, because I'm really, really nervous.
No, I like that.
I'm really nervous.
And thank you for challenging me, because that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need those challenges. So
yeah,
you didn't allow it.
I didn't allow it. I was abused.
He was able to get into your head.
Yeah, manipulation.
And manipulate you, and it just made me think about him. So how fucked up would you have to be to feel like you have to do that to someone else?
But that's what I done. I started to think, bro, this guy needs healing. Like, I started to not even look at myself and what he was doing. I'd be like, babe, you need to go and see someone.
So he's poisoning you at the same time, and you're not even looking at healing.
I'm not even looking at healing. I'm just trying to help him heal, because I was feeling like, you know, if he finds, you know, if he finds that space that he needs or whatever, then he'll be a better man. He'll be a better dad to my kids and blah 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 and whatever. But truth be told, you can't change people. That change has got to come from within. It's got to be what they want. So there's no point trying to, excuse me again. trying to force people to change or to force something. So getting away was the best thing I could have ever done, to be honest.